tell us what we have here again.
Yes, we're eating a tlayuda, which is a basically like giant piece of masa, which is like what tortillas are made out of, and that's spread out with beans, cheese, and then it's topped with things. So it's from Oaxaca also. It's like a Oaxaca regional dish, so that's why I wanted to order it. It's kind of like a party food to me.
In your book, the book's called Funeral For Flaca, and in the intro you talk about the fact that when you were young, you didn't have books that you could relate to, that were written for you as a bicultural person struggling to grow up in a country where things are confusing and culture is confusing.
Some people go through those experiences at younger ages as well, whether that is assault or racism or whatever. I'm sure there are 13-year-olds who've read the book, and I hope that they found something in there for them that they connected with. When I talk about writing it for a 13-year-old me, I always talk about this idea that I was obsessed with, which was things that were like real. What I, especially with memoir too, at that time was really like sort of flowery and like I learned everything and now I'm like healed, the end. I really appreciated when things talked about like systemic inequalities and weren't written in a way that was inaccessible either.
And you have the essay named after a Tupac song, Keep Your Head Up.
Yep. Each essay is the title of a song, so it's like a playlist.
Yeah.
That's the song that inspired the whole organizational component.
Huh. So this is like a big tortilla pizza.
Yeah, it basically is like a pizza.
Oh,
it's
like
good for, getting to know people, letting their guard down, because there's no way to eat it besides just getting super messy.
I'll take a napkin so I can throw that on there. Awesome. By giving this overview of 5 to 29, you said? 5 to 30?
Mm-hmm. 29.
From when you were 5 years old to 29 years old. You're kind of looking at the community of oneself, too.
Yeah.
And how one has all these selves along the way.
Yeah. I think part of it, too, is also moving from forced community to maybe true or chosen community. When you're younger, you're in your family unit, and you're in your community where you grow up, and you don't have a lot of autonomy or choice in that. You're in school. Like, what a strange setting to be with the same people for 8 to 12 years, depending on where you are at. Being an adult and being able to then find people who you actually connect with and like who have similar values is really empowering. And I think also part of the journey of what you're saying here too, of moving through different communities, it's also finding your people, right?
I really enjoyed the tone of it, and I wasn't expecting the tone.
How would you describe the tone?
It's really bright and light. Even though you're talking about hard things, it never felt sullen, gloomy. Even when you were getting into the hardest stuff with your dad, stuff with the, disordered eating, some of the stuff with the bipolar, it kept this like punchy kind of like optimistic tone for me. Something about the voice. And I saw some element of your spirit in that. Does that resonate with you?
The voice of the narrative voice grows, and so it starts out with someone who sounds a little bit younger, and then with the collection ending at me around 30 at that time, it becomes more adult voice. But also I think what you're picking up on is a coping mechanism, humor.
There's lots of humor.
And that's like the family that I grew up in, constant jokes, and being able to see humor even in situations that are like super awkward or confusing or scary. And I think that hopefully works well for readers, because I think a lot of experiences aren't just black and white. Like, yes, moments can feel really acutely scary and paralyzing, but other times maybe we can see light through them. I don't want to be like toxic positivity person, but I do think that me personally being able to hold on to some sort of hope is essential to just how I exist. I need to be able to look forward to something or try to work my way out of something or lean on certain people. Because I personally don't love being in spaces where I am, in my depressive episodes, and writing and finding humor and finding places to have fun are essential to just like my sanity.
Right. Like you were saying, really close to each of the ages. I feel you kind of re-inhabiting yourself at those ages, but this other tone of like bright determination I feel throughout. And that's what I mean by the punchiness.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's also why I picked this place and this meal. This is a messy meal that we're sharing. Very
Right.
communal, in a communal place that I have, you see me, we walked around and I'm like, oh, hey, this is this person I know, this person I know.
Yeah.
It's a very neighborhood feel
Right.
that is hard to find. Even in a place like Portland, that can feel so small town. But I
Right.
felt like what better way than to like communally share this messy, delicious.
Yeah, which is
Meal
all over
together.
my napkins and my
Yeah,
face and
on
my hands.
on the table and
Right.
yeah, same.
And it's delicious. Your next projects, do you see similar themes in them?
My next project, I'm still working on the memoir that I began in 2012 after I was hospitalized with bipolar disorder, which I write about in Funeral For Flaca.
Yeah.
I'm excited to also tap into a different sort of subset of community, especially folks who've struggled with mental health, especially who come from families who might not have talked about feelings or mental health.
So you're working on this memoir, and you mentioned it a little bit in the book, but even then, it was a lot about how other people came to your aid. I was really surprised because I've had friends that go through manic episodes, and it's very isolating.
Mm-hmm.
But the first thing you talk about is how you went over to your friends and they like took care of you. And,
Yeah. There were still moments of that experience where I did feel really isolated, and like even that one friend who was like an angel in this moment. Also, ultimately, we didn't stay close friends after that, and I
Right.
think the essay is a sweeping, very fast-paced rendition of what happened. And even when I wrote it, I was like, "There's so much more here to unpack." I think it has done what it needed to do in the essay collection, but I'm really excited to dive into those nuances more. And I feel really lucky that I have had different community members, whether even if it is talking to my mom or I talk about my ex-partner's mom a lot. She was still someone who, and is currently still someone who I'm close with and was a really, really important sounding board when that was happening too. That's like a second mother, right? So those relationships and who the people are maybe have changed over time, but I feel like I'm just a very relational person and like need other people in my life, and I also need like alone time, but
right.
people are essential to just, again, like me feeling balanced.
Tell me a little bit about being a DJ.
Part of my roots are at XRAY, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I used to have a radio show with a friend called Is Butter a Carb? It was my era of just saying like yes and why not to things, I think, before I started to get really burnt out and then had to say no. And it was really fun. I always loved music and making playlists. Had a friend / cousin who actually is in the band Ida Bamba, Luz Elena Mendoza. They asked me if I wanted to start a Latina DJ night, and I was like, I don't know how to DJ. What do you mean? And they were like, just try, just learn. I was like, okay. So I was able to borrow some equipment, and our first night was in August 2017 at Holocene.
Wow. Started off at Holocene.
Yeah, exactly, my first set. And I had like a broken crossfader, which for many months when I first started, which is essential for folks who don't know. It's basically like how you listen to music, how you cue music. It's very essential. But I just would prep my sets really carefully and then kind of just like press play. It was like no mixing. And then over time that, Latina DJ Night turned into Noche Libre, the DJ collective. They have been essential spaces for me to find community, to, with Noche Libre, it's like us exchanging different knowledge on DJing and music tastes and, what we bring and how we mix and how we operate, as small business owners, basically.
Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed the conversation. I really enjoyed say it one more time. This.
Oh, the tlayuda.
Tlayuda. It was delicious. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much to you for interviewing me, and also to Tierra del Sol. If anyone wants to get their own tlayuda, that's here at the Portland Mercado.